Good, you to the Apartment 5B podcast hosted by your man Kill. Yo, I got a whole ill show for y'all today. I can't explain to y'all how hype I am for this show. You know what I mean? First of all, let me introduce my man Gadget, Scratch Man. What's going on, Gadget?
What up, yo? I think I'm more excited to be here than you.
I don't know about that, good brother. I don't know about that. Like on some real shit, like, yeah. But let's get to the man of the hour. Today we've been chopping it up with hip hop. This is yo, you don't understand. This man is the cause of one of my favorite hip hop albums ever. I had to scrounge so many pawn shops to find this on CD. They ain't even have a cover. So I gotta hit y'all with that cover for this joint. Let me make sure it's out the light so that y'all can see. Super Lover C, Casanova Rudd. I got Casanova Rudd chopping it up with us tonight. Good brother, what is going on, man?
Yo, everything, bro. I feel great. I'm the best I've ever been. My mind state is an ascended level. You know, I have knowledge of self. I've been studying, you know, mathematics, you know, science and history, and just trying to get a more complete me, because I've come from such a rich culture, especially through hip hop itself. You know what I'm saying? So I've always been striving to learn more. And hip hop was a venue and a means for me to branch out, to add extensions to myself, and I'm my best self right now, bro.
All right, that's real, bro. Again, thank you for taking the time, man. Because you don't like, again, you know, people always be like, "Yo, you gotta salute people while they're here." You don't understand how much that album meant to me. You know, and not even meant in the past tense, means to me. I got my man DJ Rec popping in. What's good, Rec?
What's going on? What's going on, everybody?
No doubt. Bro, like, again, I can't tell you how much this album has meant to me growing up. This is one of my top 10 favorite hip hop albums ever. Like, not even
easy.
Yeah, this ain't even like, and when I'm on Twitter, I'm 45 and Cash, you know. You know, somebody said something to me the other day, like, yo, they're 10 albums better than, you know, Blueprint. And I'm like, bro, I got 10 albums from the 80s that's better than and that's no knock on Jay. I love the Blueprint. It's one of the dopest albums of the 2000s. But when you talk to somebody 45, there's a lot of hip hop before Jay-Z was even thought of.
Right.
And you know, when you ask me, I might say some albums or some songs or groups prior to me coming out. You're like Cold Crush Brothers and
right. Exactly.
Fearless Force. So, you know, it depends on perspective and, you know, what kind of culture you came up in, but especially during the inception of the hip hop. Because, you know, as the technology changed, you know, the music changed, and a lot of times we lost the soul and the essence of it, especially now. That's what's wrong with hip hop now. We don't have that essence of the soul. We don't have that acetate, that black vinyl spinning around. It has a different frequency on that. You know what I'm saying? So we lost a lot of those frequencies. So hip hop don't feel the same, but we keeping it alive. But based on the perspectives, my hip hop is Grandmaster Caz, you know what I'm saying, and stuff like that. So when I'm acknowledged by people that are held up high, it's incredible, man. Because I'm more of a fan than an artist, to be honest with you.
That's dope, man. That's dope. Let's just start from the beginning, like on some nice shit. Let's start from the beginning at the top of the list. Tell me about hip hop and the story. From Astoria, Queens. What was your first dealings of hip hop? When did you first see hip hop? When did you first hear hip hop, feel hip hop? When was that first time for you?
Well, you got to keep in mind, I grew up in, like you said, Astoria, Queens, known as Astoria Projects, also Allah Projects. So we had a lot of cultural references to religion, to a certain aspect of that, and also having the music incorporated with it. And having Queensbridge just like about 10, 12 blocks away from us, we were automatically connected to the hip, but we never had, you know, any prominent artists that could represent us at the time. But we also had a lot of DJs and a lot of sound sets, because back then it was about jams in the park. You know what I'm saying? And it was about the DJ. It wasn't really about the MC at that point. And it was about how, you know, how stacked your system was, you know, what your deck looked like, you know, how much a light was illuminating off your face so you could be seen, you know what I'm saying, and about how much crowd you was moving. So that's what hip hop was about for me. So the first thing I heard was reverberation of music bouncing off the walls of the projects, you know what I'm saying? And I was a little kid, 11, 12 years old. I would just sneak out the crib, jump downstairs. I hear DJ Holly was spinning I see the TNT brothers doing stuff with they big speakers and sound deck. You know, they got the Disco Twins. I mean, the list goes on. You know what I'm saying? So my hip hop was the spinning back, and you know they had the little drum machines and stuff like that. And I was fortunate to be around a lot of transitions from different eras and genres of hip hop, because I went from the analog to the digital era, and I'm still doing it right now.
All right, that's dope. Tell me this: what made you want to get into hip hop? Because here's the wild part: I'm from Philly, so and I used to spend every summer in Brooklyn, and I was always envious of my cousins in Brooklyn, because I'm like, yo, y'all literally could go to school with special ed. Y'all get on the train and see Big Daddy Kane around the corner if you live in Queensbridge and see Nas. Like, you know, for us, a lot of Philly shit back then was West Philly with, you know, Will and Smith. I mean, with Jeff and Will, with, you know, Tat Money, Steady B, the Hilltop Hustler, Schoolie D. That was all West Philly, and I was from Uptown.
You know.
Yeah. But what made you? Because anytime I told somebody from New York, I'm like dumbfounded that I felt like if you from New York in the '80s, you had to do something. You rap, you DJ, you did great.
I started off as a DJ. Like I said, it all started with the DJ, so I gravitated to DJing first. Okay. My first DJ name was Spinbad, and after a while, I started thinking about, damn, do I really want to call myself Spin Bad? Because I was really dope. I didn't want nobody to say I was spinning bad. You know what I'm saying? Because bad wasn't meaning good. Bad was meaning bad. Then you know what I mean? So, but I had changed it to DJ Rudd, and then you know we had the different names, MC Rudd. I was also spitting rhymes too. I was in a contest at USA roller skating rink out in Flushing, in the Chinese town area in Queens, and it's a Korean area now, but back then it was a hotbed of hip hop. Like Eric B and Rakim used to come down there, Bismarck. They had a contest where the Juice Crew was going to select a member of a new member of the Juice Crew. So me and my partner Soup, we wasn't always down with each other. We grew up in the same building in the projects. We were friends before we were artists. You know what I'm saying? We grew up playing football, you know, and video games and all of that stuff, all the stuff you would do when you was a young kid. And then during that time of hip hop, we started being in competition. I had my Dukes donated her turntable. She got mad because there was a jazz station that cut off on the radio in New York City at one point, and so she gave up on playing music. So hey, you can have the amplifier and the turntable, and Soup had another turntable, but it was kind of raggedy. But we still connected it together. It was one belt drive and one some kind of direct drive kind of thing. I was spinning back on belt. If you could spin back on belt drives, back then, you know you
can spin on anything.
Yeah,
man,
you're nice
so
to spin on that.
So when I got on some techniques, man, forget about it. So everything came seamlessly to me because I was doing the inception of everything. I was so fortunate to be around, you know, people that was doing it. So when I was so young, in the parks and Astoria, they wouldn't let me get on. I'm like, come on, little kid, get out of here. So it kind of made me want to get my own equipment. I started doing community show, stuff in the community center in Astoria, selling, you know, tickets and all of that. So I made a little hood, you know, celeb name for myself. I wasn't about ego because I was loving the music. You know, I like how I was moving the crowd. And after a while, I got tired of spinning other people's joints. I said, you know what? Let me make my own joint. So I got hooked up with a studio, 1212 Studios. And my man, Chris Morse, his name is CJ. He was working at the studio. He's also from Astoria as well. And we were in the group at some point. But you know, when we all coming up in competition, it's hard for you to have your own distinct, you know, sound and you know, to be your own. So we kind of branched out. It was a healthy competition because we still were friends. But you know, after a while, after we got a little bit more mature, we started to see who was, you know, the cream was coming to the top, was rising to the top. So some animosity here and there, but that's another story for another day because I don't got no time for negativity. Right. But in regards to the growth of it, you know, I grew up in the studio. I grew up in 1212 Studios, learning this stuff. You know, I used to leave out of school. I used to go to Aviation High School, and 33rd Street in Ross, and I get right on the train right after school. I go right over to 1212 Studios and learn something from Paul C. He used to teach me the craft of how to mix and you know how to compress and pan left and right. So a lot of times I don't get a lot of credit for the stuff I produce because, you know, and it's still, you know, I'm not racist or far from it, you know what I'm saying, because I'm half white myself, but it's like they looking for that great white hope. So they be latching on to people and exonerating, and holding up people high. And I'm almost written out of my own history. I have to sometimes shout and say, yo, read the credits, my dude.
Right.
Read the credits, man. Look who produced this, man. It ain't, it's Paul C is the one that crafted our sound, but he ain't producers.
Right. And that's a good question. Bruh, this is all, I'm a hip hop junkie. So this is all like, music to my ears. Tell me this. So you and Sue grew up in the same building. When did you two be like, yo, we should link up? You know what I'm saying? When did that decision happen?
You got to keep in mind, Soup's right there with me when we doing this community show. So he was the one that MC moving the crowd, and I was spinning it back on the mic, on the turntables and all of that. So we had a little Sensonic drum sets hooked up to it, Dr. Rhythm joints. You know what I'm saying? So we incorporated a little show stuff to it. We ain't had the best sound deck, but we was also pretty boys too doing it. Young doing it at that time too. Wasn't a lot of young cats doing that. You know what I'm saying? So,
how old were you? Because you're saying you're getting off the train.
I'm like 15, 16 years old, 17 years old doing this. I didn't even get out of high school yet. You know what I'm saying? I didn't even graduate. My first hit record, Do the James, is when I was 17, just graduating out of high school.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? So, and it's ironic that I never tried to do it for money. I just got caught up in the wave. Like, okay, I made something dope, great. Oh, I got connected with a great studio, great. I got connected with a dope engineer that crafted my sound, great. It was nothing fake about it. And the crazy thing, I never had no crew to follow. I was always dolo with it. You know what I'm saying? Me and Soup, we wasn't down with no juice crews. We wasn't down with no native tongues. We ain't had nobody coaching us and mentoring us. We was doing this by ourselves. A lot of times people turned their backs on us, but they ain't stop us from the love of hip hop because we grew up in the veins of it. You know what I'm saying?
Now,
I grew up, yeah.
Now I was gonna say it's funny you say that because the piece on how we connected for folk watching, I will make beats for food my site. I do this thing classes in session. And one day I was talking about how much I love the album, and my man who's a hip-hop head, like a real diehard head, our age 46, 47, maybe older than me, was like, yo, I heard Do the James, but I never heard the album. And I'm like, yo, what do you mean you never heard? Like, bro, this is like one of the most important hip-hop albums like ever. And I wrote in the article that one of the reasons why I thought you all was so dope was because at that time in the 80s, you had to have a crew. You know what I mean? It was about what crew are you down with, or it was about what label are you down with. You know what I mean? So y'all are on DNA, which to me, y'all think may have been the only group on DNA. So how did that deal even come together?
Well, the whole thing with the DNA thing, like I was saying, me and my partner Soup wasn't always down with each other. We was in that contest at that USA roller skating rink. I was talking about the Juice Crew. The dude that won was Master Ace. Soup came in second. I came in fourth, and I think wasn't Mike this dude named Romeo. He was down with Irv Gotti, I think, at that time.
So that's how Ace got down with the Juice Crew. Was through that contest.
And right after that, DNA was in the crowd, and DNA liked what he saw, and he was going to, he's a vulture looking for all types of shit out there. Pardon my language, if got kids turn, he's a vulture looking to get on anything. So he signed us. I wasn't even publishing. What's that?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Independent. What's that? Oh, I can get my stuff on the radio. Oh, you got your own radio station? Let us get it. Yo, let's do it. I'm ready right now. You know what I'm saying? I was born ready for this stuff. So he saw us. He signed. He wanted to sign me and Soup, but he wanted to make us a group. He said, y'all cool with it? I said, yo, we best friends. He said, why aren't y'all a group? I said, because we in competition all the time with these females, with this music, and with this money. Let's get it. You know what I'm saying? But at that time, when he saw us, I was DJ Rudd, and he was Super Lover C, and his name came from this group he was down with. We was always running with an older mob of dudes. It was some college kids that kind of groomed us. We was lovers. It was it was called it was the GOP crew. It was getting the East, the EOP crew called the East Orange Posse. We had no affiliation with Jersey. Don't ask me where it came from, but I think my dude, one dude brought the acronym out here, and it just stuck. And we did a party with it, and they put it on flyers, and it just stuck. So we were some lovers, the EOP lovers. So Super Lover C came from that. I was DJ Rudd. I was the youngest out of everybody. I was like 5-6 years apart from everybody. And Stoop was he's 2 years older than me. But after we got together, we had to think of a name, and I came up with Don Juan Rudd. I said, Romeo Russ said, damn, Romeo got that name. He just is in the contest. I said, yo, Casanova, and that stuck. So the key to the songs, me and Soup used to have, we used to trade samples because we were digging in the crates too. You know what I'm saying? So I traded a Blues and Pants sample for You Said a Bad Word joint. And because I like that but that's the one we use for Super Casanova, and we used a Blues and Pants joint and for Duda James and all that. So it's just funny that it came out on an album together, and we were going to use it for competitions in the rap contest.
That's dope. That's dope. Gage, I want you to jump in, Rec, whenever you got something, jump on in. I don't want to throw to this because, especially you, Gage, because I know you.
Yo, I had this album on vinyl, CD, tape twice.
Right. The tape had to pop, so
yeah. Man.
Well, you better know how to splice it, or you could take the tape apart.
Or you
could put. The best technique was some nail polish was excellent, bro. Little dab of nail polish and put it right on there, let it dry, fix all the tape. Yeah, bro.
Let me tell you, here in DC, I don't know if you guys know it, but Girls Got 'Em Locked. You guys had DC.
I was in Ibex all day.
Okay.
That was my spot. Girls, I got them locked, pump it up. What?
Dude. Y'all had go-go bands redoing the song.
Bro, I love that, bro. You know how many times I walked into the Ibex and heard them doing the set of our joints, 3 of our joints. I said, I can't believe I loved y'all out there. DC was one of my favorite places to go, bro.
This is y'all big culture. Like outside of New York, this had to be our biggest market outside of New York.
I loved y'all, man. I got so much love out there, man. So much love, man.
Yeah. Now tell me this, bro, because the wild part is, and it's what you said, and you schooled me to this, about producing. One thing that a lot of people don't, I feel like, give this album credit for, and definitely I want to, do whatever we can to help get your name out there as the producer. But the digging on this album was crazy. Like, and when you think about it for years, and it's like you said, like the name Paul C just kind of stuck to so many things. You know what I mean? And until I started really peeling back the onion, I'm like, oh shit, Paul didn't do all the Ultramagnetic. Like, Paul didn't do all the, because it just was like Paul C produced Ultramagnetic, Super Rudd, organized
like that, yo. But he crafted our sound, yo. He was pivotal for the sound.
I don't want nobody to think I'm discrediting Paul C or anything like that. We'll talk about Paul, but what I'm just wondering is that the digging on this album, to me, was on the same level of anything of the greatness that came out.
But bro, when you think about it, I appreciate the big up too and not acknowledgement. I don't want to interrupt you, but I can't take full credit for it either, because it wasn't hard to dig for that album, because a lot of the joints I used was people's joint was spinning back in the parts. You know what I'm saying? And I'm using other joints that I'm already familiar with. I might have just added a little nuance. You know what I'm saying? Maybe some of the horn from Please. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then I got a drum roll coming in just for a certain part to add to the Super Casanova joint. So depending on what we're using, we just added elements that was already part of hip hop.
But I mean, that's dope to say that, bro. But at the same token, think of how many other people heard them parts. You know what I mean? Like, and I think that's the piece of it, is that the production on this album, to me, is a perfect album. So I can't ever say, I like the production better or the rhymes, but the whole album was just perfect. You know what I mean? But the digging on the album, I mean, the funky drummer and I'm back. You know what I mean? Like, I'm the in break, girls act stupidly. All those things.
Man.
And I also got to give credit to also Rod Way. He was the engineer for the project. I produced most of the album in Green Street Studios in Manhattan, Lower East Side. I mean, that over there in the fucking Village. You know what I'm saying? And he was over there with a calculator, making calculations to make sure things matched up. I said I was a stickler on perfection because I learned from Paul C. You know what I'm saying? We couldn't record in 12/12 because Ultramagnetic had it blocked, the whole studio blocked for 6 months. So we had a deadline with Electra. I couldn't even record the second album there. So the reason why we couldn't do the album, we couldn't even do the album there is because we couldn't record with Paul. They had him locked up. They had all his time booked. So we went to to the next best producer, which was Rod Way at that time. And guess who was recording to the studio next to us?
Who that?
The Nation of Millions was being recorded right at the same time.
Wow.
So, and what I can tell you a story about that. One day, the second day of recording, I forgot my disc. I had some rolling sounds, 808s and stuff. And I knocked on the door. So, I knew Vietnam was over there, Shockley's and all that. I said, yo, I need an 808. Y'all got an 808? They said, here, use ours. It was the dirty Public Enemy 808 is a lot all over, saturated on Girls I Got Them Locked album. So, you might hear it. So I got a top 808 from Public Enemy.
That's crazy. So I got a question. So Kill touched on it, right? You said that you used to DJ. So when I was listening to the album today, like that's one of the things that caught my ear. And growing up,
you heard that early form of transforming, right? You like that?
Yeah, I heard it, and I'm like, okay, so they're coming from a whole nother standpoint. The lyrics is always tough. Y'all kill the lyrics, but from a standpoint of the beats, did y'all think about that? Was that conscious when y'all were putting this album together? Because think about it, right? The DJs, even though like you said, the credit isn't always there, it's DJs that I grew up on that keep y'all stuff alive. You know what I'm saying? Like I hear that stuff all the time from certain DJs. Is that something that y'all thought about? Was that a conscious thought?
Everything was just organic, bro. It was intrinsic. It was like it just was natural. It was just part of me already. It's like I didn't have to think about it. The thing is that what made it even easier was I didn't have to cut tape. I didn't have to spin back. It was we had a sampler now. Paul when I went to 1212, he showed me how to use the SP12. I said, yo, what is this? He said you can sample 1 seconds on this 1.5. I said, word, and then we could group it together and put it in the sequence. It made it easier because I didn't have to do no thinking, and you could program it. Yeah. And then we learned off of the SP1200, man. And then the rollers, it got crazier. So it was easy to organize your thoughts. I can hear a track. I can hear like 5 records never heard before, and then I can hear it compose in my head before I even press the button. I already know what it's supposed to sound like, and I don't know. I just learned that just being around a lot of ill people. You know what I'm saying? Paul taught me how to hear. You know what I'm saying? The projects taught me how to feel, and I taught myself how to be.
Facts.
Wow.
That's crazy.
Tell me this, bro, because I've already said it's one of my favorite hip hop albums. I believe if I had a top 10 of favorites and greatest, this is in my top 10 of both. You know what I mean? The reason why I always try to say favorites is because, with social media now, everybody's opinion is a fact. So I try to separate the two categories, but this falls in both categories for me. The song that for me literally changed my life was Due to James. You know what I mean? Due to James, and I tell the story in the article I wrote. It's 1987. I'm at this shorty's house party at her crib. I'm in 7th grade. I'm trying to get with shorty. We finally chilling on the couch. I'm about to kick my game. It's a true story. And my man, Cool DJ Frank, throws on Due to James, and I had never heard it before. And I literally stopped. I ignored her. Like literally was like waiting all night because it's her party, so everybody's pulling on her. And I'm like, I finally get my shot, and I'm like, yo, chill. What the fuck is that? Like, yo, like get you, shorty. Like, yo, going up to my man, like, yo, what is that? And he was like, yo, Super Love seen Casanova with the bruh, Due to James. Bruh, I'm a producer, so you got to walk me through the process of Due to James. You know what I mean? That's the first time I heard Impeach the President. And it may not be the first time I listened to it, but it was the first time I heard it. It was the first time I heard that.
To be honest with you, that's Soup's baby. I was very instrumental in the production aspect of it, putting together, having the sound and adding my elements. But that Soup, he loved that Blues and Pants sample. That's why I traded that to him. And we already had Impeach the President in our possession, but we had that the Alga Records, I think Alga Records, I think it is, Impeach the President version, and it was a scratch at the end. It was going, and like, so it had an extra like graininess to it, like grain to it. So he kept it. I wanted to use a new version of it. He said, "Nah, I like it. Keep it like that." Plus, we had no money to buy no records anyway. Spent all the money in the studio. So, when we put it together with the way Paul put his compression on it and the reverberation, and he would put like a delay underneath a delay, And then the way he would match Soup's voice up, like with just the practice of it, we couldn't wait to just lay it. Let's just lay it quick. Soup would never write. He would write in his brain, but he never write nothing down. He'll just memorize it as he spit it.
So this dude was on some J Big shit.
Wait.
Yeah, Soup would never write.
Hold on, he didn't write. I'm back with your homegirls, don't mind me. Y'all can slow me down, but don't rob me.
You will never find a scroll nowhere, bro.
Wow.
You might see me jot something down real quick for him, but other than that, nah, bro.
Y'all can slide me down, but don't rob me. That would come on, man.
Yeah,
you gotta get the Soup because that's a whole nother conversation right there. But so Do the James is like the first unofficial single, right? You know what I mean? So what is the feel for that when that drops in New York? It had to just be fucking bonkers. So like, how did it feel from going from we just some dudes from the projects to now Do the James is on Red Alert, Mr. Matt, just everywhere? You know what I mean? How does that change for you?
I mean, I've heard it on Mr. Magic Rap Attack. It was the first place that played it, right? Mm-hmm. And we were always tuned in anyway, and we kind of had an idea that it might be played because we heard it from because it was already on DNA, Hank Love show and all of that. So it was playing a little bit because it just came out, and then like a week later, it was on the major radio, and we was like trying to hear it at like, damn, it's coming out today. No, coming out today. So all right, we just chilling. I'm upstairs, doing whatever I'm doing. I'm probably playing video games. So I don't know what the hell I was doing, and I heard the radio and it came on. I heard soon the beat came on. I said, "Oh shit!" And Soup was downstairs the next floor, so I'm running downstairs and knocking on the door. Boom, boom, boom. And Soup already was banging it already, so he couldn't hear me banging on the door. So he opened the door. I'm in the living room. We both in there listening, and it's like, I'm in awe because I'm hearing Mr. Magic Rap Attack World premiere, and I'm like, when I'm hearing that, it's like I'm hearing Big Daddy Kane, or I'm hearing I'm like, like, damn, yo, I can't believe this, yo. And then I'm saying, okay, I'm happy my joint played. And then my joint played again. And then my joint played again. And then my joint played again and again and again. And then, wow, yo, it just came out of nowhere, hit me. Like, we started doing 3 shows a night, perform like 4 times a week. You know what I'm saying? Maybe four nights a week. It was crazy, mad love. I mean, I had love from every borough, man, from the Decepticons, running around in Brooklyn to people uptown in the BX, nothing but love, man. You know what I'm saying? There's a little hate here and there, but we was always genuine dudes because we was already kind of doing it before we got started, you know what I'm saying? Because people knew we was in the circuit already. So, it was just nice to be acknowledged and then to actually be held up, to be acknowledged by like population of the city. You know what I'm saying? You see your face on posters and stuff. And I'm performing with Tila Rock. I'm like, I'm just spinning it back like 4 months ago. I'm spinning back his shows or something. Right. You know what I mean? And it's crazy that I'm running around doing like it's unbelievable, bro. And I'm to this day I'm still in awe because I'm a fan more than anything.
Right. And this is a time where duos were normal. You had Eric B. and Rakim. You had EPMD. Mm-hmm. You had other groups like Black Rock and Ron. Like it was a lot of duos out there to actually overcome. You had Cash Money and Marvelous Marv out of Philly. Like it was a lot of competition out there. So for you guys to accomplish what you did with Do the James, I mean, that was incredible.
Yeah, I appreciate it, bro. And you know what? It was organic. It was from the heart. It was nothing fabricated, man. It was just meant to be. And music is vibrations, man. And sometimes you can capture a vibration that can last forever, man. It's like a memory. It's like having a love for somebody. Just having the experience resonate through you. It's going to always resonate. And we encapsulated that in that song, man. For us, our spirits in that song, my G.
Yeah, the funny thing is with that joint, and again, I could talk about Do the James for the next 5 hours because, again, it's one of my favorite beats. Just everything about Do the James. I've actually always been looking for this instrumental to it, and it's crazy because I found this shit on iTunes. It's the dope instrumental. I know my lights are shining.
Yeah.
See it, and it's just something. It's so grimy and everything, and it's just so. Yo, Cass got Apple Music. Just super love to see Casanova do the thing.
Yeah, that joint.
Yo,
is hard.
Did you guys pay Levert for that sample?
No, bro. At that time, we were just. Yeah, I'm gonna tell you a story about that too. We was in California performing, doing some at the BRE convention, Black Radio Exclusive, was in Long Beach, I think. And they was having it at a hotel in Hollywood or somewhere in Beverly Hills or something. And it was a gathering, Levert and all that, and we was introducing ourselves to each other. And he said, "Yo, y'all them kids that used the joint for my joint, Casanova. Yo, I like that, man." And I even asked for permission. I said, "Yo, I appreciate it, bro." And I just kept it moving. I said, "Oh, hey, I ain't see no lawyers running around or nothing." You know what I'm saying? Hey, sounds good. I ain't getting nothing in the mail. And as long as we respect, he had mad respect. I met him one time, and that was it. We kept it moving. So we were right before the Bismarck getting sued for "You Got What I Need." You know what I'm saying? Yeah. We right before that, so we got lucky. We wasn't in the statute of limitations period for that. You know what I'm saying? And I was in the studio when Biz recorded that too. He recorded that in 1212.
Yo, wow, bro, because you said that you learned on the SP12. This one, I don't know if you ever peeped this book. Amazing book on the machine, man. You know what I mean? But talk just a little bit about the SP12. You know what I mean? As Harold is one of the, to me, it's the staple for hip hop production. You know, if I think of hip hop beats, the first thing that comes to my mind is the SP1200. No disrespect to Dr. Rhythm or Boss or any of those other machines, but the SP1200 is just synonymous with hip hop. How is it like learning on the SP12? Because a lot of times people hear SP12 and they think we're just shortening it, but no, there was an SP12 before the SP1200. So talk just a little bit about Paul teaching you the SP12 and then moving into the SP1200.
Actually, I'm sitting over his shoulder while he's teaching himself how to use the SP1200 because it just came out. He was a gear, freak. Everything, all the outboard gear, mass on the boards and everything. So he didn't even care about nothing but just learning that machine. So he got the big floppy disks. There wasn't even a hard joint yet. You know what I'm saying? Had external drive. It didn't even have a time. You couldn't even sync it up in a certain way. Simply. It wasn't connecting right. MIDI, what the hell is that? You know what I'm saying? Things wasn't connecting that certain way with the machine. So he had to work around how to have a click track, a metronome, to have the start. So that was the first thing. And then the truncation, people don't know what truncation is. That's when you take a beginning and the end of a sound, and then you get a starting point, and then you can chop it up. You can split it up to pieces. So when he found out that you could take a 0.3 seconds, and there's a part saying you could take the UI and then take a part from another part of the record that sound just similar to that, and then piece it together with that, and then it fills out a whole sequence in a loop for 1 second. He showed me how to piece little pieces together that you had to it's like a surgeon. You know what I'm saying? So it's he told me, he said equated to the same thing like I showed you how to cut tape. It's the same thing like using a razor cutting the tape. You're putting the pieces together. So the truncation was cutting tape. So I got that terminology easy. And then he showed me how to filter sounds too, because also frequencies count. So you got low 40s, high 40s, dynamics is everything. So you got to be able to manipulate frequencies. So he showed me how to, put filters in to muddy the bass to have that stick out, or to just have the high stick out. If the highs aren't sticking out enough, put a limiter in it so you can bring up the bottom. Did I knock myself out? Am I there?
No, we hear you. You teaching, bro. You teaching. Some of these cats don't understand what you're talking about. So
my bad.
No. When you teach, I'm telling you, teaching, brother. Speak.
Let me get back to steam, y'all. And I'm out the thing. Hold up. Let me see if I'm doing. Okay, they're going back. Okay, so we get a limiter. I think I was talking about limiter. Have a limiter, yeah. So the lows that you can't. I mean, the sounds that you can't hear that's faint. You could bring those up to the top. So and you got to make sure you hear just enough change so that it's not too much change. When you EQ the same way, you don't want to hear too much change. You want to be able to manipulate it to bring the best out, but you don't want to change it too much. And the same thing with compression. You don't want to stomp on it too much either. Compression is the opposite of limiting. You know what I'm saying? Compression is taking a sound that is peaking to match it with another sound that you want to raise. So it's a science to that. So you're showing me all of that, and you can do a lot of that with the SP12 at that point. You could do filtering. So I learned a lot of aspects of just the science of it because I knew how to cut tape. I know how to, spin back records. I know how to program machines. But when you add in timing to these things, time to feel to things, because that's what makes it feel like a live band is when you're doing sampling and all that. If you're a real master of sampling, you can chop stuff up and make it sound like it's a live feel. And what's wrong with hip hop now is that we don't have the ability to sample them because like we had back then, because people scared to get sued. So everybody's using the same synth sounds. None of us is good musicians, so all of us sound whack. With sampling were the best musicians back in the day. So that's why it was dope. Yo, listen to Ron Carter, listen to this bass line. Boom, 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 boom. I'm not getting that sound myself. So we would take the best musicians in the world. That's how if you're a real producer, if you're a real digger, if you found somebody that's an ill musician or producer or composer or arranger, look for some other stuff he did on other records. You know what I'm saying? He might be a group you have never even heard of, but try to search for him. You can find stuff on that too. So it's some certain ways you go about producing, but that's the law of science. But a lot of people still got it in their veins. I hope they bring it back because I ain't lose it, but where you gonna find it?
Right. The funny thing about that is I was just saying on the last step how liner notes to me were like a treasure map to a digger, because you would get the liner notes, you'd open it up, Premiere sample such and such, let me go look for them. Or like you said, with the Ram sample for Bonita, that's the Roy Ayers project. That ain't even Roy Ayers. So like you said, you find somebody and then try to go look for something else that they did. Like, but those were like the I used to call them treasure like maps to me. Like, you know what I mean? Like, point me in the right direction of who to mess with to get that sound. Now, here's the thing about Paul, and we're going to talk about Paul and Dead later, or whenever it comes up, but I always looked at Paul C like the East Coast Dr. Dre. And the reason why I say that is because so much of what you're talking about with compression and limited and all of that good shit, nobody was doing that in the 80s. You know what I mean? In fact, most of the albums, people talk about how JB's album, Jungle Brothers' first album, didn't sound good. It wasn't mixed good. And, all of this because nobody knew what they were doing. Hip hop was so new. So it was a blessing that you were able to get with Paul, who knew what he was doing, who could give you all of that. Because the stuff you're talking about now, bro, I know people who still don't use compression. Now in 2019, you're talking about 1986, bro. You know what I mean?
Know what quantization is or anything like that.
That's what Dre was doing out west. He just understood more about not just the production, but the mixing and the engineering piece of it. You know what I mean? And that's what I think was missing. And that's to me why I think Paul is a lot of times so heralded, because he was able to make it sound clean but still dirty. Similar, like you hear Straight Outta Compton or Fuck the Police, it sounds clean but it's still dirty. When you listen to anything off of this album, or you listen to Get a Drummer Somewhere, Ease Back, you know what I mean? Or It's My Turn, it's still grungy but it's clean. So how do you think Paul even did? That's just him being
he was just he was in other stuff too. He had his own band. He was playing bass. He played like 7 instruments. You know what I'm saying? He played the bass. He was already trained to like a musician. So he was already thinking in signatures and or time tempos. And so his mind was already, his matrix way it was constructed was already geared towards this like perfection and timing and rhythm. So it just came natural to him. So the whole key to learning this stuff is knowing the terminology, because if you can't convey the message and for someone to comprehend it, it's useless. So for me, that was the hardest part for me to get over, because I wasn't trained like none of that. You know what I'm saying? I was just being around mimicking and emulating. I became an emulator of SP12 myself. I started emulating a lot of his techniques, and I already had the feel because I was cultured in it. You know what I'm saying? I just came from a different direction. You know what I'm saying? I came from the struggle in the streets, seeing my peers. It's a different feel. You know what I'm saying? I'm seeing the actual essence of what hip hop, spinning back, and he's coming with a trained musician form of it, with a technicality, with technicals. You know what I'm saying? And we meshed together, and our spirits were ill because I'm half Polish, and he was Polish too. You know what I'm saying? So that was a connection, and then us digging was a connection. And then also us just having a thirst to just machines was a connection. So we just connected. So it was easy. Everything came easy. So I learned like a 2-3 year period of how to perfect myself before I even got to Do the James.
Wow.
That's crazy.
So,
because I was doing stuff. My first thing I ever did was called Outstanding. I sampled the Gap Band.
Mhm.
Green and what's the name? That's Green and Pine or Green and that's Tulsa, Oklahoma. The Gap Band is an acronym, stands for Green and Pine or Power, one of those.
It was like the street they lived on or something, right?
And that's that's what Black Wall Street was. That's when they got bombed and stuff. So that was respecting that. A lot of people don't understand that. But I knew that science back then too. But I sampled that. And I made a song called Outstanding. It was like 1983 or whatever it was. I don't know what year it was. I brought it back to the projects and I played it on the block and I became a hero. Soup got jealous and said, "Yo, hook me up." And I brought him to the studio. CJ brought me to the studio. Reason why he didn't go to the studio because he had beef with CJ. I was still friends with CJ, so I'm just about to, I'm trying to be friends with everybody. Forget all that nonsense. But we did tracks in there, and then I was going there every day after school. It was bugged out, bro. It was crazy, man. I was blessed.
Say Gadget.
So, Due to James comes out on DNA Records. When do you attract Elektra?
Okay, well, we were signed to City Beat first. Then DNA Records, then it was signed to Mercury Polydor, and then the label that the people that signed us there, the whole label, they got fired, so they dropped all the projects. So like 3 months later, Elektra picked us up. So we were Elektra's first, Elektra's second hip hop act because the first one was Sugar Hill Gang.
Wow.
And we on there with Anita Baker. Metallica.
That's crazy.
I mean, yo, get the fuck out of here.
Heavyweights.
Hey, but not the same budget.
Yo, I'm like, we going on demo tour with them. You know what I'm saying? Like, wow.
Yeah, but Gadget, good point. Not the same.
I'm talking to Donnie Simpson. I'm like, come on, my G.
Wow.
Now tell me this. So we got Girls, I Got 'Em Locked. This is now the first single. This is the first video. You know what I mean? Here's the wild part about, I always joke with young folk nowadays who see everything visually now. I always thought you was Soup and he was Rudder. So from the first time I saw the album cover, I thought, and here's the wild part, I thought the same way Eric B and Rakim. When I first saw Pay the Full album cover, I thought Rakim was Eric B because he had the cornrows. So I was like, I look like a Rakim type dude. You know what I mean? So, but now I see the video. The video is in Astoria Projects, right?
Well, the beginning is we brought some of it uptown because we tried to get it to like the essence of hip hop a little bit, but we couldn't find a spot in the Bronx. So we tried to get it to Harlem at least. You know what I'm saying? Like it tried to represent at least a little bit everywhere in New York. So we did a little bit in Astoria, a little bit in Manhattan and like Lower Manhattan, and a little bit up in Harlem area. We did it in that Omnisphere, whatever that
you talking about at the park in Queens, right?
Yeah, no, the one in Manhattan. There's one in Manhattan.
It is Rockefeller Center.
Yeah, so it got like a little sound dome thingy. So we performed in there too. So, and we did it in front of the Apollo as well. If y'all notice, we that video. So, and it was, and we wasn't even trying to we just wanted to have some kind of visual of us, just to have something to put out, and it just took. We was hoping that we could redo it or produce something else. It looked like a porno flick quality. I was like, yo, what the hell is going on? You know what I'm saying? But yo, it is what it is. Yo, it's hip hop. Ralph McDaniels played it first, man. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, that was one of my favorites. My bad, Gad. You go ahead.
Oh, no. Who was you guys' stylist for that first album?
Oh, you talking about? You mean the album cover?
For the album
cover. I picked out me and Sue picked out the red covers. We picked it out ourselves. We did it ourselves.
Okay.
We tried to as much money as possible, yo. They tried to jerk us, yo. They gave us $100,000, and it wasn't enough because we had to pay most of it to the production because we couldn't record in 12/12. So we had to pay the most expensive engineer, and the most expensive studio, $50 an hour with rolling with the automatic faders and automatic moving faders and all that. Man, it was expensive, man. I'm having a production coordinator, a manager. I ain't had no dough, yo. I'm still mad. I should have invested half of that money, man. I'm pissed. But that's besides the point. I'm sorry, I got off track. Was
100,000? Was that the advance?
That was just in the advance. So we had that to work with. So the rest was for that. The rest we wanted to use was for that junky video we used.
Called it a junkie video.
Wow.
Fisher Price joint. You had to crank it up for like 5 minutes for you to get through.
All right, so tell me this. So the album dropped. Girls Like I'm Like is a single. The album drops. I'm back with Stupid. I mean, I love every song on the album personally. You know,
my favorite one is Girls Act Stupidly. That's my favorite joint.
Now tell me this, because you bring that up. Yo, did y'all sample Pac-Man for that?
No, there's no Pac-Man, and there's some other. Damn, what the fuck did I use for that? Hold on for a second.
Don't say it here if you never cleared it.
Are you talking about the horn that comes in?
Nah, it's like
that's look.
I always thought that.
No, that's not that. Damn, I forgot what piece. A lot of bro. I'm gonna tell you also. I got some bad karma, yo.
What's that?
Paul's mad still at me, man. Don't be mad at me. Yo, I'm the worst at taking care of records, yo.
Yo, no.
I take records out.
No, you're not. No, you're not.
You ain't the worst, bro.
Listen, yo, I was in. Paul used to hate me. I used to drag the needle, pop across, mess up the groove, leave it out of the jack. Don't even care about the. Yo, Eric, what's the name of the record? I don't know, man. I just sampled it. Damn, you don't remember? I wrote it down. You ain't write it down. I got the original sample. Just use that. I forgot samples. I broke records. I'm the worst, bro. I apologize, man.
Did you guys clear any samples for for that album?
Nothing, never. I told you we just made it.
And no one's came after you since.
No, nothing.
Wow.
Nothing. A lot of stuff I used it wasn't even copywritten. Sometimes I had records that were on 44 or whatever. What's the other one that came? What was the one right before 33s?
Was it no.
78?
Oh, that's what I was thinking. 78.
It was something else before that. Some jazz. I used a lot of. My grandmother and grandfather had a lot of records in the cribs. I used to always come over here, dig some records, bring them to the studio. Come back, dig some more, bring them to the studio. A lot of times I don't even remember what I used. So whatever I used on that might have been something classical. I don't even remember, my dude. To be honest with you, I apologize.
This is a perfect segue to what we was talking about last week, Rack. So here's the thing. Here's a question I got.
Yeah.
So you got Kane, Biz, the Juice Crew. Like, yo, Marley ain't do nothing. We brought the records. Marley hooked it up. We're the producer, not Marley. What are your thoughts on? And then I know Diamond would give co-production credit if you gave him a record. He ain't give you money, but you would get credit. You know what I mean? So you're from that era, because to me, so much about hip hop is about the era you lived in. You know what I mean? Because I've always wondered, how did these laws from the Bronx, New York, not only make it to the other 4 boroughs, but make it through every state all the way to Cali? You know what I'm saying? Like, thou shall not bite. You shall not, me being in Philly, me watching B Street, that's why I learned, okay, you can't take somebody else's shit. That's called biting. Or, you know what I mean? Like, so everybody's a little different. So what are your thoughts on Kane brings the record? That's it. He doesn't know how to hook it up. He's not coming with any instructions. He's just coming with, I want to use this Emotions album. Here you go, Marley. And then Marley makes Ain't No Half Stepping. Who do you think is the producer?
All right, well, you got to break it down like a chart, like a depth chart. Right? You got to start it off in a big pool, a pie chart. So let's start off with a big 100%. We all diggers. All right, we all can hear things. Bang, I heard that. Bang, you heard that? Yo, I heard that too. Bang, bang, bang. All right, so the piece breaks down. No, one bracket here, one bracket here. I'm technical. Yo, I don't know shit about that, but I can maybe keep a loop. I can spin something back. All right, so I'm gonna put something together with a drum pattern, and I'm gonna take credit for that. All right, so I'm gonna find the loop to spin, and I'm gonna keep spinning it back so you can catch it. All right, cool. So we work together. There's somebody else. We need somebody to rhyme. One of them guys come out of that pool again. So you got somebody branch out there. All right, I can spit. I don't know how to do none of that spinning back and nothing, or none of that putting technical together. But I know how to keep a rhyme on beat. So let's do this together. Boom. Then all of a sudden, oh yo, how you do that? The spitter might pick up some tech, or the spitter might pick up some skills spinning back, right? Or he might know all of that. Or whatever, somebody picks up more pieces of the technique, the pieces of hip hop. You know what I'm saying? Well, not hip hop, the music of hip hop, because hip hop is a culture. Right. It's the music of hip hop. So as you keep branching on, some people just retain stuff. So as you retain, you become more self-reliant. You become more self-contained. So a lot of people will think they iller than somebody else, but technically, are you iller than someone else? How much are you bringing to the table? So it depends on what you label yourself. A lot of us just label ourselves MCs. A lot of us just label ourselves rappers because the MCs moves the crowd. They might not be a rapper. They can't make songs. You know what I'm saying? But you got a songwriter that can't move the crowd. You know what I mean? He just got nice songs. You got a dude that can spin back, but he don't know how to do the beat. You know what I'm saying? But he can bring everybody to the mix that can make it sound good, but you need somebody to put your technical together. So somebody always needs somebody.
Right.
So that's a hard question to answer, bro.
But here's a good one for you. I come to you back in '87. You got the studio, you got the equipment, you got the know-how, and all I do is say, yo, you know what? I found this Skull Snaps record. I like this drums on it. You know what I mean? Like, I like these drums.
Okay.
And I just hand you the record. That's it. And I leave. And you construct the whole song. Are you the producer?
Oh no, I'm not doing anything. If I'm in the studio, what am I first? When you come in with that, what am I now? I'm sitting in 1212. I'm sorry, I apologize.
No. I would say you're the engineer.
All right, so right now, I'm getting paid. What am I doing? I'm down with y'all. I'm getting royalties, or what you want me to do?
Nah, I'm just coming in with studio time. I brought studio time.
Okay, so it's at least 2 to 4 hours. You got what you got on you right now. Give me $50 deposit.
Right. Give you the money. I come in and I just say, yo, I love the drum break. I want to rap over this.
So what you want me just to loop it, just to go through, or what you want me to chop it up? What you want me to put my own idea to it? I
don't know what a loop is. I don't know.
If I put my own idea to it, I'm gonna have to get a little bit more money than that because it's my time and investment.
All right. And that's a good way to work it out. You know what I'm saying? Because
all right.
You're a better man than Herbie Lovebug.
I mean, that's how I learned how to do it. That's how Paul did it.
You bring Herbie had all the equipment.
Well, I don't want to talk about nobody. I'm on positive aspect. Herbie was cool with me. I didn't have no problem with him. I sat back and watched him record a couple of times and speak to a couple of people, a couple of meetings. I was sitting there flying wall. I was a big fly always with any wall, but I'm sitting there. I was in a lot of places and a lot of times. Yeah, I'm sorry.
No, the reason why I asked that, and I like how you did it with the pie chart, because to me it's about what else did you bring to the table?
Right.
Because if you're just bringing me the record and that's it, then I'm the producer, in my opinion. You know what I'm saying? It's like my man Vern said. If my wife gives me a list of stuff to get from the store to make Thanksgiving dinner, and I just go to the store and bring her the ingredients and say here and sit down and watch the football game, I can't come out and take credit for that food. Like, y'all, look at what I did. My wife's gonna be like, nigga, you was sitting down watching the football
game. Yo, going back to Marley, you know what I'm saying? You got to keep in mind what got Marley to that point. You know what I'm saying? Because you have to know somebody to become reputable for people to even think you're a viable source to even pull information and talent from.
Yeah.
So just by him gaining his experience and networking, his viability is already is much more than anybody else can bring to the table. So and he got the tech. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And he made the beats.
Right.
I mean, listen, he used the Casio boom, the bridge. I mean, come on, man. I mean, if you could anybody can bring a sample to any technical dude, but if you're not telling them how to do it, you ain't producing it.
Right.
You just bringing an element to the table.
And that's the piece that my man Vegas said. If you go to the store and then you have a recipe for me to follow. See, so that's level 2 to me. That's like what you were saying with the circle. Like, not only did I go to the store, but this is my recipe. I'm telling you how to cook it. See, now the production credit is coming together for me. But the whole, we brought Marley the records, to me, that ain't enough. Because
keep up already you a beat by it anyway. Can you bring in some other joint from something that's produced already to somebody to use? So keep that in mind. So already you gotta manipulate it and revise it and truncate it to make it a new composition. So who's doing that? The technical dude. So who's the producer? That dude. That's the producer. The guy that's changing the composition from the original form.
Yeah.
Large professors don't have production credits for Troy. So, I mean.
Right. And he gave
Large got jerked too, man. He's part of the Get Jerk party too, man. We all in that same thing, man.
You're right.
You know what I'm saying? We got 5 cabooses on that train, my G.
But here's the wild part, guys. Like you said, Paul gave Pete the record for Troy. And like Diamond said, that was Diamond. You'll get co-production credit, not money. So if
Diamond's a beast, though.
If you read
nobody can take,
hip hop, you'll see something that says produced by Large Professor because Large gave him the record. But that's Diamond himself. And again, what people I think a lot of times forget about in hip hop is if you're 48 and I'm 45, there's a difference in there. There's some rules that were different for me as a hip hopper growing up than it was for you. Diamond's older than Pete. You know what I mean? So maybe coming from Diamond's generation, that was the mindset. If you give a record, Diamond used to carry for Bam and them dudes like that. You know what I mean? So he's coming from a different. I always tell people it's how you was raised. You know what I mean? So if Diamond is older, you're getting raised differently than Pete. You know what I mean? So maybe for Pete, he like, I ain't giving you co-production credit on this just because you passed me an album. We always pass albums. You know what I mean? Diamond may not have grew up in the era where Diamond going up with Flash. I heard about in Park Jams where they would rip the covers off the record, so nobody peeping over the side could even see. It was all about the break is what makes your party. So if you get to see what break I'm playing, then you gonna go to your party and do nigga. Like so, we were all raised differently, And even though niggas be like, we from the same era, I'm like, bro, you 40, I'm 45. We ain't from the same era, my nigga. Like, same.
I remember skating at the Jamaica Roller Dome or for old school joints, man, before hip hop was even hip hop. You know what I'm saying? I remember here. I'm 50. I'm 51, so I can remember some mixtapes with like Grandmaster Flowers. You know what I'm saying? I remember hearing a joint disco because you got to keep in mind if it wasn't for Grandmaster Flowers, it wouldn't be no Grandmaster Flash.
You see, I ain't never even heard no Grandmaster.
Yeah, I never heard him either.
You schooling me?
Yes. He was the master of the disco blends. He was blending like R&B and disco stuff. He wasn't doing hip hop, but his technique of 2 turntables and all that, and keeping the rhythm and like a steady flow. Grandmaster Flash and a lot of the early hip hop heads, Kool Herc and all, they picked up a lot of that and that came from Brooklyn. Grandmaster Flowers was from Brooklyn, 1971, 72. But a lot that's a missing story too.
Yeah. Hey,
look it up.
Check
it out. You might find something.
I got to bounce, but it was love building with you, bro. Like I'm a big fan. I loved the first album. I loved the second album. Like the Gigolo. Come on, bro. Come on, man. But
all right, Gadget. I got you. I got a million other questions. Text me if there's any.
Thank you.
You'd be pleasantly surprised. My son got some. I'm working with my son. His name is Tom Don. He's gonna be out with some stuff. I got a new album, Casanova Rudd album, coming out at the end of the year. And if you could be pleasantly surprised, listen to this. Go on SoundCloud, Casanova Rudd. I got like 50 joints on there that I've been doing.
Oh shit! Okay.
Like the last 10 years. So you be,
That's what's up.
Yeah, so check it out. And me and Soup got 2 songs in there. You might not have heard. One's Spanish Bars, and the other one's called Legends Twice.
All right.
No, I got you.
Yo, hit me up. I'm here for y'all, my dude.
No. We ain't done with you, Ron. We ain't done. Don't go.
Right, no, I'm just saying. I'm
Yeah.
I ain't leaving the planet Earth no time soon.
So
I'm not being here for 600 years. That's what they say. The capacity for human endurance is 600 years. I'm trying to at least get half it. I'm gonna live 300. I'm in the new energy. I'm on the 5D Earth. You heard?
Tell me this, man. All you MCs. Now that's your solo joint. You know what I mean? What? Because
all you MCs so super. You cannot even talk. My bad.
No.
I would remember the rhymes of that. Yeah, my G.
2 questions. What was it ever set up to be both of you rhyming? Because again, in the beginning, in buying this album from Duda James, Girls I Got 'Em Locked, and I'm Back, my assumption is you're the DJ. You know what I mean? You're Eric B, you're Polo, you're Jazzy Jeff, you're Cash Money, and here's your rapper. But then when I get to the album, I hear all you MCs. I'm like, oh, he spits too. You know what I mean? So how did that go? Like, was it supposed to be like an EP&D thing, or was it like nah, you Soup, you rhyme, but you know what? I want to get a joint in real, like on some Pete Rock the Creator type shit. Like, how did that song come together?
Well, go back like I was saying to before we even got a group. Remember, me and Soup was in competition.
Right.
Let's go back to the pie chart. You ready to go back to the pie chart to the bracket? Okay, I was nice at spitting, producing, spinning back, technicalities. I was learning engineering. I mean, I had a lot of I was self-contained, so I was pretty good at everything. But my strong suit was definitely the production side. So I was learning under Paul, so you know I already gravitated to that. So Soup was always his strength. He was ill at production too. I don't even get it twisted. He was also, you know, just as nice. But his strong suit was also lyrics and writing. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, we already a group. So let's everybody work on their strong suits. You know what I'm saying? And Paul was an instrumental part. He was the trifecta. He was the part that brought us together. You know what I'm saying? Because we were the raw organic materials, and Paul was the technical that we needed to bring it all together, the sound. So, and he was already crafting the sound of hip hop at that time already, with Eric B and Rakim, Bismarck. You know what I'm saying? So all of those people, I mean, Ultramagnetic MCs. So that sound was already, you know, resonating throughout the community, you know, of hip hop anyway. So it just fit in naturally. So by us, it was just a perfect mix. And, you know, just like any successful championship team, you know, it's got to be chemistry. And we were the epitome of chemistry.
So what made you be like, yo, I want this joint? Like, you
because I think that was one of my joints already. Like I had it written already. You know what I'm saying? I had a style, just never finish it. And we needed to fill up the album. You know what I'm saying? So that was one of my joints. So I filled it up with that.
Now tell me this, because I'm listening to it today, and you were talking about people biting. Now, this is what I've realized in hip hop is that there's been so much sneak dissing in hip hop. People like somebody hit me the other day on Twitter, like, yo, was Kane dissing Eric on Show Improvement? I'm like, where? And then they send me the quotes. It's like something about your speech impediment or whatever. Were you taking shots at anybody, or was this just Blake? This was just, you know, niggas be biting type thing, or was there somebody that song was aimed at?
It was nothing. It was just a generalized statement because, you know, I'm around the community. I'm here. I'm addressing what I'm seeing. Like, I don't like what I'm seeing. I'm like talking to you. I'm talking to you. You know, I'm talking to you. Right. Without saying no names. And, you know, people could respect it if they know, because people know what it is. You know, it was just making a statement. Hopefully that it would resonate with people, you know, be mindful of how you go about, you know, this thing we love. You know what I'm saying? Okay. So respect it.
Now, this is about Soup. Soup to me, I was telling somebody today, and I was like, before y'all even get this started on Twitter, I'm not saying anything negative about Gibbs, but Soup reminds me a lot of what Freddie Gibbs does now. And what I mean by that is Freddie says so many words in so many tight spaces. You know what I mean? And it sounds flawless. That's to me what Soup was. Like, I think that was one of the things that always stood out to me with his rhymes, because, you know, I mean, so many rhymes, you know, like coming from a historian. So I'm an historian, so I'm a valedictorian, like real smooth brother, bat on the mic, I'm a cold stone. Like, most people weren't rapping that quick and saying that many words in so much tight space. You know what I mean? Like, so that was the thing to me about Soup, is that he had a style that was all his own, because nobody else was spitting like that. Nobody was. I mean, I was listening to it. He was like, yo, I'm like, this nigga said Audacity in 87. Like, niggas. Right.
I'm about to say Soup, you know, he's not like educated, like in an indoctrinated sense. Right. He's like, you know, he's knowledgeable. You know what I'm saying? He had a vast vocabulary. So he was always a stickler and staunch on providing a lot of syllables and filling in the spaces. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, you know, he would, like, the way he probably would explain it, like if he was here right now, he would probably say, I'm another instrument just interweaving myself into the fabric of the spectrum of the sound. You know what I'm saying? It's like rhythm is everything. Harmony is living in harmony with each other. Everything is about rhythm.
And again, and people take stuff and twist it. I'm not saying he's Rakim. So before y'all even get to it, I'm not saying that. But the way Rakim would talk about the way he rhymed was like, since he played saxophone, like he was a jazz player. It's funny how you said Soup would explain it like I was another instrument, because to me, that was the flow. That's what made his flow to me so different and so flawless, because he literally was like part of the beat. I always tell people when I'm doing my marriage coaching, when we're dealing with couples and money, it's like making a half and half. Once you pour your lemonade in and I pour my iced tea in, I can't go back in and dig in and get my lemonade. It's half and half now. Yeah. And I feel like that's what Soup and you guys were doing with the rhymes and the beats. Like it was one. You know, like there's certain albums, Group Home, you'd be like, yo, just give me the beats. There may be another album, you like, yo, just give me the acapella. Whereas you can't separate the two. So it's just funny for you to say that that's how Soup would explain it, because that's exactly what it feels like it was. You know what I'm saying, right?
Nah, that's what I was gonna say. So today is one of the first times I heard the whole album, and that's one of the first things I noticed. It was an intricate lyric that he was saying, and I was like, damn, there is no space in between it. It's perfect. It's almost like he wrote it as you made the beat to fit that exactly. Right. I know y'all are friends, that's your man. Like, is that just the synergy, like how you were saying earlier?
Bro, you gotta
like keep on everything.
You got to keep in mind that particular album in itself was made in the studio, so it wasn't like it's not like home. He's writing,
right? So y'all were together.
He's not on
everything together
with the headsets and like he bopping for it for a month. There's nothing like that, bro. We come into the studio, turn the lights on. You're right. You know, get this fader up, boom.
Yeah.
Bring up the track. Let's vibe for a minute. Boom, Soup's in the thing, writing. You know, this boom, playing around with it. Yo, play it back for a second. All right, boom, boom. I'm playing around with the mixer. Yo, Rod, yo, slow that down. Yo, can we bring that frequency up? Boom, boom. Say, oh, yo, play it back again for me, Rod. All right, no problem. Boom, me in another half an hour. Boom, boom.
Right, but the whole time he's just going.
And then, okay, press record. So I always learn from Paul. Record everything. I don't care what. While he in there, yo, Rod, play it back for me. Guess what? I'm recording that. You know, boom, boom. How many tracks we got? 500. Okay, record that. Whatever it is, you know what I'm saying? So we start recording, and I've learned a technique from Paul how to record Soup. So we already knew how to keep his voice, because Paul used to like to have Soup's voice recorded a certain tempo. Like, okay, he'll slow down the track 0.5 on the speed, speed of the reel. Record Soup at that tempo, and then when we put it back in the mix, we'll put it back to the regular speed. So it sound like his voice is a little bit faster. Yeah. But actually, I figured out what he was doing. He was recording it in a 432 hertz, like a tone.
He changed the sound bite.
So actually, that's the more melodic. It's a more harmonic sound. That's the one that Jimi Hendrix and everybody was recording under. So you know, everybody recording in 440.
Kills like what?
Everybody, like everything since 440, since, you know, the German scientist engineer from back, you know, he brought that, he made the frequency 440 because that's a mind control frequency. You know, I ain't no conspiracy theorist, but that's been proven.
No, that's
okay.
Nice.
Okay, so 430, 436, or 430, I think it's 432. That's the tone of the universe. That's the harmonic tone. So that's naturally what's melodic. That's what you gravitate to. So I figured out the science. I did the math with the 0.5. I said, oh, pi. No, I'm saying, I'm playing.
That's crazy, man.
So yeah, so it's a little science. So I know how to record him in that aspect. And then also Paul used to like to have extra delay playing faintly in the background. So like I'll say, yo, what's good? It won't play till like 5 seconds later. What's good? But it'd be real low. Put it underneath the track. It'd be so faint you can't hear it, but it fills the spaces. It's like an ambient noise playing always in the back. So anything playing, there's no gaps. There's nothing missing. It's like it added an extra richness to it.
That's crazy, man.
So I know how to record Soup's voice. And I still use that element to this day. But, you know, digital, you lose a lot of stuff.
That's true. That's true. That's crazy that you said that, man, because it's almost as if there is no dead space in this album, and it feels like it's meant for that. It feels like it's meant that way. It's
organic. It's all made. It's like we were musicians, but not really. We're in the studio recording. Let's put it in the pot. Let's record.
Yeah, and that's how I felt. Like I said, today was my first time running through the album, so when I'm listening to it, it don't got to be 87. I'm listening to it as a new listener today. Like, damn, I don't hear no dead space. There's no wasted elements of anything. You know what I'm saying? The album is dope, man.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
The album is dope.
It was my baby. Yeah.
One other reason I love the album, and what I say is missing a lot nowadays, people set their albums off great, you know, nowadays. But then by track 7, 8, I'm bored. By the time we get to track 15, I'm like, is this shit over yet? This album, to set it off with I'm Back and end it with Due to James, was incredible to me, because for folk out there who are younger, at this time in hip hop, you usually started your album off with your biggest single. So usually an album would have started with "Do the James," so they grab you right away. But you grab them with "I'm Back," and then end the album with "Super Casanova" and "Do the James." It was just one of those albums. And it's like, this is like a blueprint to me of how I make music, because it's like I never want to lose a listener. Like, I want the listener at the end of the album to be like, it's over? Like, no, like no, I want more. There's so many times nowadays with albums, it's like, get that shit, like, I'm good, it's over, good, let's go. What's next? The track list, I'm sure y'all put all that stuff together and everything like that, but tell me this, the science behind once the album is out, you know, we talked about the success of Do the James, this album is out, how do things change for y'all now?
You mean to this point now, after going through all the
well, no, like just the album just dropped. You know, James on the radio, Girls I Got Them Locked, the video's in rotation. I'm back out, Super Casanova's popping, boom, album's here.
We doing shows everywhere. We go on tour with Public Enemy, NWA, Rob Bass, Salt and Pepper, Ice-T. I did a tour in California for like about 9 months, man. I love California, bro. I mean, I toured all over the country. It was UTFO, just being around that whole time of hip hop that was so pivotal, man. I mean, being MWA, man, Easy E. I'm chilling with Easy E. I mean, I'm getting more bitches than Easy E. You know what I'm saying? I'm in California, my G. I'm from New York. You know what I'm saying? I'm chilling with Ice-T at his crib. You know what I'm saying? I'm easy. Yo, y'all niggas is crazy. Y'all the juvenile rape gang, man. He called us a juke because we had all the bitches, man. We seen us throwing we was in one hotel. I think we was in Texas, and it was one of those 2-level hotels, and the courtyard had like bushes in it, and they seen us throwing some shorties' clothes into the bushes. Like all they seen was clothes coming out the hotel room, bro. We was rock stars, bro. No, we was rock stars, yo, and so that's what it was, bro.
It's funny because usually the pretty boy dudes, the lover dudes, the street ain't got no love for, but it was opposite for y'all. Like, I don't know any dude who was rocking with y'all who was like, nah, fuck them pretty boy niggas. Like, it was like, y'all were able, I don't know how the hell y'all did it. Maybe it's just the projects or Queens or whatever, but y'all was able to balance both. You was able to balance.
You know what it was? They heard the hip hop before they saw us. So we got lucky. They heard Do the James. They got oversaturated with Do the James a lot before they actually got to see us. So they had like, damn, we like these niggas now. Cause they make ill shit. Yeah. Fuck. All right, fuck it, let's rock with them. And then, I guess we got cool with certain people because I ain't never burned a bridge. I know I passed a lot of torches, but I ain't never burned a bridge.
That's dope, man. Now tell me this, man. We gotta talk about it. The death of Paul C. What did and again, for people who don't know Paul C, Ruddy's been talking about him. Engineer, producer extraordinaire. This is Large Professor.
But don't get it twisted. He's my best friend. He was my best friend, man. He was like a brother as well. So he was that before anything else.
Right. This is Large Professor's mentor. If you look anything produced by Large Process, produced by Paul C. Instead of C, it's SEA. It's like that. He's touched so many things, touched so many people. Did the murder happen during the album or after the album dropped?
Okay, we were just about to start recording the album because we had success with Do the James and we had success with Super Casanova. Okay, so we had a lot of stuff in the mix in the cauldron already, but we had nothing on tape yet. So we wanted to record in 1212, but then we had that issue with Ultramagnetic having the studio booked for 6 months. So but we still that's my best friend. So I'm still rocking with him. So we still digging, I'm looking at, stuff. And I was supposed to spend the night at his crib that night too. So he said, nah, Rud, I'm chilling tonight. I'll see you tomorrow. So I'm, regular night, get a call and I hear a knock on the door and it's the detective. They want to speak to me. I'm like, what the fuck you want to talk to me for? That I bring me to the precinct. They tell me, that Paul C, was he's dead. And I guess they expect me to say something. I'm in shock. I mean, dead, but okay, and I'm shocked. Okay, what I'm here for? What's going on? So I'm, they telling me he got, he was shot Do I know about anything? What were you planning? I told him exactly what I just told y'all just now, you know. And it's to this day, I never knew Paul had an enemy. So that's why alone that's a shock. To this day, I never know if I had an enemy. So I'd already ruled both of that out. So I don't know what they thinking. And to this day, nobody knows what really happened to him. But there's a lot of implications, you know, involving other family members, other people in his life, you know, that he was connected with, you know, who they was connected with, and still to this day is technically unsolved, you know. But it's just a tragedy because he did whatever happened to him, he didn't deserve it. You know what I'm saying? He was a stand-up dude, you know what I'm saying? And and a lot of the stuff that I was learning, you know, I'm stuck, you know, at a point of, you know, doing it by myself, you know, and then the love of hip hop I kind of lost it for a minute. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
You know, to this day, I kind of lost it a little bit, to be honest with you.
Right.
But I don't have the passion like I used to have in regards to it, but I still, you know, was doing my thing. You know what I mean? I still have the spirit in me in regards to that. But, you know, it's a tragedy, man, because he didn't deserve what happened to him, man. And I still don't understand why it happened to him, man.
Yeah,
he was murdered.
It was crazy because Poe from Organize was on here with us before, and he was, you know, saying what happened with him, and he was saying how he went to Paul's crib the next day, and the cops took him down to the precinct. Like, you know what I mean? Like, he like, yo, I was just coming to check on my man or whatever, you know, and, you know, just the whole hoopla of that. I guess and I know you said it changed your perspective of doing the music. How did you finish this album? You know what I mean? Like in that mind space of, like you said, the person who your mentor, the person who you were, you know, over the shoulder of, you know, was no longer there. Not just no longer there. You know, one of my teens got murdered last year. It was like a Sunday.
Well, keep in mind, he was still alive.
Oh, right. Oh, he was still alive during the album. So the whole album
we just couldn't record with him. He was still alive at that point. Okay. We were going to do part 2, another album. We was going to work on the second album.
Okay.
It was the second album is when he got murdered. That was a time period. He was alive for the whole album. He just wasn't able to record with us.
Right. Because you're right. Because I'm tripping because on the back of Eric B. and Roz, Let the Rhythm Hit Him, they have a picture of Paul, and that's later on in like 90. You know what I'm saying? So my bad. I was getting the dates mixed up.
No, that's all good, bro. Man, please, I'll be getting the dates mixed up too, man.
But I guess coming off of this album, I'm hyped. I'm ready for the second album, and there's some time space there. You know, there was some time space between this album and the Romeo 12-inch with Gigolo. You know what I mean? What was happening during that time? Was that, and then I peeped that was on Epic, so I'm assuming it was some label hoopla, like, you know. And I know you touched on earlier that, you know, new people came to label, you got dropped, but you know, they let everybody go. So what was the time period between this drop and then what was this 89 and then the 91 with the 12-inch?
And what record was that again? That's Romeo and Gigolo, right?
Romeo and Gigolo, yeah.
Yeah, that was epic. That was right around the time that that gangster rap stuff was getting persecuted at that point. You know what I'm saying? I think Nas was signed to Columbia.
Right.
And he came out with something that the music wasn't feeling. And so we got caught up in the mix with that too. They didn't want to put out no hip hop, like major labels, especially Epic, because they affiliated with Columbia as well. So they didn't push it, but we were signed by some hot shot record executive. I forgot his name. I hate to disrespect kids, but if I forgot your name, you ain't that important then, my G. You know what I'm saying? But Troy White, that's his name. So I guess you're a little bit important. But Troy White, he signed this, and they did well with us. But you know, when you got labels that didn't respect hip hop, right, man, how much they pushing it, man. We shot a video, and the dude for Gigolo, we had a video shot for Gigolo. It was shot by Hype Williams.
Wow. Okay.
Before he turned into Hype Williams.
Hype Williams, right. Okay.
We were the first project he had coming out of film school.
Wow.
And the hold up. I'm getting lost in the sauce, bro.
We go. I understand. We going back 20 some odd years, bro. Yeah. I totally.
So, because I was just talking about Gigolo just now,
right? You talking about Gigolo getting signed by the boy, and then the video being shot for Gigolo, but because of gangster rap and all the hoopla going on, labels were kind of apprehensive of, putting out stuff, especially Epic.
Right. And so the video was so new they didn't really want to put it out. It was like that Super 8 frame like thing, the stuff that is standard now.
Right.
So it never came out. But it was like a cult classic, because like it wasn't pushed. You know what I'm saying? We had people that still like that, we had fans, but not really. We had DJs that wanted to fuck with us, but not really, because we still had that negative stigma lingering over us from Paul C's death. They thought that we had something to do with him getting murdered. We still to this day, you know what I'm saying? So it's just, I'm not saying we was blacklisted or anything, but damn, nigga felt like some kind of collusion was going on. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah. Because I remember, I want to say it's Big Daddy. It was a UK magazine on hip hop and records, and they did something on Paul C, and they was saying trying to allude that Soup or you had something to do with it, from some beef y'all had or something like that. And I
never had no beef.
Right. But I think people were just grabbing for anything at that time. You know what I'm saying? To try to pin it on something. Blowing Up the Spot. The EP comes out. Now you're on Wild Pitch. You know what I mean? So this is 3 different records, 3 different labels. How did that come about with Wild Pitch?
Wild Pitch was we were like puppets on there because this dude Stu Fine, he was the label exec, and Amy Fine. Shit, that was the Hype Williams video. That was the one that they was doing something for us, and they didn't want to put it out because it was too new looking and shit. So we had, and man, I'm so mad at that label for that. Search was actually an A&R dude at that time there.
Right, because Wild Pitch's main sources label, SOC, you know what I mean?
UMC, that's right. That's right.
That's wild. So yeah.
So but he was in control. He was trying to have his fingerprint on hip hop. So he's in the studio with us like like a composer and shit. So I'm in Power Play with Anton Pushinsky, which is another ill engineer. I always had the best engineers. Always, it wasn't even like it was planned. It's just like they knew I was, going to be there. I guess they wanted to work with me too. Is that the
more Anton that Large Pro used to use?
Yes, Anton.
His thing.
Yeah. So we all in the same family. And what's so funny is me and Large, we family, but not really. You know what I'm saying? Like we never was close because because me and Paul was connected to the hip. They always they know I was with Paul, but he would also have to work. So he would work with Large, he'll work with Biz, he'll work with Rakim, he'll work with because he's an engineer. You know what I'm saying? And but that was my best friend. But me and Large, we never had no beef or nothing, but we got mad respect for each other. I wish I had more of a relationship with him, to be honest with you, especially just because we just connected to Paul.
Right. So the Blown Up the Spot, I assume, doesn't do what Wild Pitch wants it to do. What happens after 93 for Super and Rud?
Well, after if you don't have no relevance in hip hop, especially at that time, it was changing. The generational sound was changing. We wasn't gangster rappers. You know what I'm saying? We wasn't that talking. That Big L. We wasn't talking that Nas. Like not saying Nas was gangster, but he was representing.
But just that.
Yeah, we pretty boys, okay, light skin wasn't in no more, what I'm saying? I guess I don't know what happened, but our content, we would talk about females, what I'm saying? We was the only dudes really going after females all day. That was our content. So, that changed. So everything was about streets. It was about going to Afrocentric, mentality as well. So the consciousness was coming more to a fold. So we didn't fix into the vein or to the tone of the time. So if I guess we didn't make the right songs to be relevant to catch that momentum like we had, you know what I'm saying? So it was just unfortunate. But life goes on. I had kids too as well, so it's hard to to be. I ain't never begging for nothing, but I could use help. But I ain't begging, so I wasn't looking for nothing. You know what I'm saying? Right. But as life go on, you just keep growing as a person. You don't never let nothing get you down. It's either you win or you learn from the experience. Ain't no losses.
Right. It's not because I would love to have you back on, because what I want to do, the wild part is being on Twitter and with this podcast, it amazes me that I have so many young listeners. Because when I started the podcast, it was like 40 and over. Like, you know what I mean? This is gonna be, but I always tell people with so many podcasts, I always joke with people, you can know nothing about hip hop. If you watch all 190 of my podcasts, you will have a bachelor's degree in hip hop, nigga. Like you will learn some things about this culture from what me and my team do. But I want to do something where we're looking at the pockets of hip hop. And what I mean about the pockets is kind of like what you touched on once. One day I was tweeting that I like Chance the Rapper new album. And one of my young boys got at me like, yo, how you like corny ass Chance, but you be rocking Griselda with Benny the Butcher and Pusha T all day? And I said, bro, you got to remember, I came up in a time when in 84, if I wanted to see rap videos, I had to watch Friday Night Videos. So I had to see Duran. I had to see Network. I had to see the Eurythmics. I had to see Culture Club. So I got pulled into so much other stuff. Whereas I understand if you was born in 84 and fell in love with hip hop in 94, all you heard was hip hop. You know what I mean? So it's almost like the young boy was almost like how can you like, not almost like, not, he wasn't asking me like almost how can you taste different things? It was like, you're allowed to? And I'm like, oh, nigga, yeah, you're allowed to like, but I always have to remember, I fell in love with hip hop in 84. I'm 10 years old. So even like Com said, I met this girl when I was 10 years old. So I always use 10 years old as the barometer. So if you fell in love with hip hop in 94, you're falling in love with hip hop during the 40 and Blunt era, what I call the 40 and Blunt era. And if you were, I always joke with people, if Nas comes out in 90, Jungle and some other nigga from Queensbridge is doing dance steps on stage instead of walking around with, army fatigues on, smoking 40s and smoking, drinking Heinekens.
Mm-hmm.
So
that's a big change.
That's a big change, but I want to do some shows about how it changed, how Mo D beat Busy B at Harlem World, because Busy B is still on the MC rocking the crowd, yo, yes, y'all, you don't stop. And Mo D is like coming with some nah, nigga, I'm coming at your neck.
I'm coming in with some lyrical skills, right? You
ready for that change.
You over there, I'm Tip Bitty Bitty hip hop. You'll forget all that. It's about this right here, that baby. You know what I'm saying? No, I got you. But so you see, the craft, everybody started to take it really seriously. Like they can see it like being presented in a format that was a message that we can use for money and power and notability and street cred. So everybody's in competition trying to find their own niche. That's why that beat by the dope style taken was so amplified then, because if you sound like anybody else, you was shunned, you wasn't even heard of no more. So that's why it was so respected then. So you would come, you was like a scientist, you mixologist, and you got your lyricist, and you doing all of this stuff. And then you come back to the show to present it. That's that jam in the park. You go home, you do your dance moves, but you hear me then again, you know what I'm saying? So you already ready to do your show. So you ready for a presentation. You know what I'm saying? So it was a competition, but it was healthy. So everybody started to become more elaborate with it, more technical, more, more skills, more, sound craft. People started going to school for look at Curtis Blow, you know what I'm saying? He went to school for stuff to learn how to do music and all of that stuff too. So you got to keep that in mind.
Yeah, but in those pockets, a lot of times people don't realize why people weren't able to adapt. Where I was saying with Mo D, when Mo D did the Busy B, basically LL did the Mo D. You know what I mean? Like it was almost like, okay, I think it was DMC when he said, like, I heard Rakim, and he was like, I'm over. Like,
it was like the same thing what Kobe did to Jordan in the All-Star game. You know what I'm saying? It's time to pass the torch. I'm here now, my G. I respect you. Give me my hug. Take this little bit of sweat. It's time to move on. Towel off, nigga.
It's almost like how the Run DMCs, the Fat Boys, and the Houdinis could not keep up with the EPMDs, the Eric B. Wise, the Boogie Down Productions. You know what I mean? And so it's always those eras changing. And then you have the era of coming into the 90s when I believe, for me at least, the 80s represented record labels not knowing what to do with hip hop. So it was kind of like, just do whatever y'all want to do, which is why to me, the 80s was my golden era. So that's why I felt we got so much great music. But once NWA came out and, you look at the 90s, now record labels think. Keyword is think. They know what to do with us. So now
you got to keep in mind, I'm a conspiracy theorist, man. It's an agenda that is applied by a big corporation, big pharma. You got all hidden factions that want to implement images, negative stuff. They promote pharmaceuticals. All this stuff is put the money, the entertainment part is what is the generating factor for advertising to get people's minds, because you could. war is not won on the battlefield. War is won in the minds of the people. So when you get the minds of the people, that is it, yo.
I'm in the army, man. So I know that all day.
Namaste, my brother.
Yeah, but I mean, even and exactly what you said, because once the '90s came, like I think Light is the dopest female MC, and people are like, well, Light only had 2 dope albums. What about these bricks she had with? And I'm like, I don't even. Not to even say it's not her, but by the time Roughneck came around, that's the label telling her, get with this new jack swing sound. You know what I mean?
It's a 6-year time span from 88 to 94.
Like once that happened, like those first 2 Light albums, the record labels like do you. But once 90 hit and it was like, wow, this NWA shit is really selling. I tell people all the time, Cool G Rap's first album, not one curse word, not one. But then
you got to keep in mind, the main thing at that time, you know, Clear Channel or whoever was the monopoly at the time that's controlling the programming on the radio, they were the ones that are scripting it. I mean, payola was running rampant at that time. So if you weren't doing a certain thing, you wasn't getting heard. So what you had to do, conform.
Right.
You had to change your style or your content for you to even be heard.
Right. But that's the wild part, that when you look at, and me and my man Ev go back and forth about it, because I'm like, all right, G-Rap's first album, pre-NWA, no cursing. His second album, post-NWA, all cursing. And he was like, well, you don't know. Maybe G-Rap wanted to curse and they wouldn't let him curse. I said, that could be it. Or it could be he could rhyme. Because G-Rap was Men at Work and Road to the Riches. That's my favorite G-Rap album. So he's shown me that he could spit without spitting one curse word. But to me, it's not a coincidence that your second album, post-NWA, now just shit talk like sex got more.
Maybe he was just pissed off the second album. We don't know. He might have just been motherfucking mad. Yo, y'all motherfucking gonna get this shit this time. I don't know what it was, man. Maybe he seen the first time the money wasn't right. This shit gonna get right this motherfucking time. You know what I'm saying? I can't get in his mind, but that's my dude. Hold on, that's my peoples though. But maybe he knew you had to conform to the agenda. It's like at that time you had to conform to be heard. So people wanted to hear cursing. People wanted to hear about how much of a gangster you is, how much of a drug dealer you is, before you even could be heard. So everybody's living an image, and we glorifying these images. You know what I'm saying? We trying to strive to be that. We creating the monsters that, you know, the people. The byproduct now is this generation.
Right. Now you're 100% right. You know, and then I want to talk about the 90s, because when I started Morgan State in Baltimore in 92, EPMD's Crossover came out. And one of the lines that always stuck out to me, Paris says, still, I haven't seen one rapper living comfortably. But then you fast forward to 1995, niggas is on MTV Cribs, niggas got stripper poles in their basement, you know.
And that's all lies, though, because we know that.
Yeah, but the ill piece is that I remember Gangstar living with Branford Marcellus in his basement. I remember reading in the source about Tip having to decide, do I want to move out of my mom's crib or buy a 3 1/4 BMW when Midnight Marauders dropped? So the fact that he brought the 3 1/4, so the fact that Tribe Called Quest, one of the biggest groups in hip hop in the world at the time, Q-Tip is sleeping on his sister's twin bed back in Queens, like, you know. But then, like I always say, for those kids who fell in love with hip hop in 94, 95, in that bad boy era, all they know is get money. That's their foundation, was get money. The thing that was, to me, that was so great about the 80s is that I could throw on NWA and hear rah rah shit, but then I could come right back to Herbie Lovebug, which I call my PG-13 hip hop, and listen to Kwame all day. Or I could listen to EPMD. Or if I want to try to Mac the Girls, I'll throw y'all joint on. That there was so much stuff you could touch on. You had an array of music, whereas these kids who were born in 94, so somebody who's 35, who's 10 years younger than me, they don't know anything but Bad Boy and Get Money. They didn't grow up in an era with so many different things to pull on, and nothing was whack. Like, that was the thing I always tell people. You're kicking it with Eazy-E. They wasn't looking at you like pretty boy niggas. They ain't gangsters. They ain't from comp. Everybody had love. It was a mutual respect throughout. You could be Jazzy Jeff and the Fresh Prince, and like you said, be on a tour with NWA. You could be a super lover seeing Casanova Run and be on a tour with an Ice-T. That can't happen anymore.
No, I get perfect example. So you made a point with Jazzy Jeff, Fresh Prince. Remember how they boycotted the Grammys? They had all that support from everywhere. You won't have that. You won't have that now. You can't. Like you said, you can't do that now.
Well, you know, with with the advent of social media, and you know, with the just the whole the media platform, it's so much news and fake news and hate news, and it's so much stuff, you know, in the mix. I mean, if you can't entertain somebody for more than 5 seconds, you are afterthought now, man. So it's a lot of this stuff is not even relevant. That was relevant then. It will be relevant now, bro. So it's so much stuff now, man. It's you like. It's like you back then you had to have talent to be heard, but now you just celebrity. Whoever's the most likes, or because you somebody ill said you ill. You don't even have to have talent no more, man. So it's a whole different animal. So it's kind of hard to like to understand why it changed that way, but it's all the big money machine, man. It's the big the companies being involved, seeing the viability in hip hop because they never thought it would go this far. And it's funny that it's in rhymes that somebody said it. And it's the truth.
And it's crazy because one of the things is that, to me, the love changed. I always tell people, in 84, I got 2 turntables and a mixer, 10 years old. I didn't do that with the thought of, oh, I could do X amount of parties and make X amount of money. It had nothing to do with the money.
It became commercialized. That's the problem.
Right. It went from being for the love to people. This is why I always tell people, if you went to Morgan State's campus in 92, there was like 6 producers on campus. That was it. If you go to Morgan right now, there's probably 8 producers standing outside of one of the dorms. You could produce on your iPhone. Back in those days, to get an SP1200 was like $2,500, $3,000. Like, if you wanted to be a producer, you was gonna do 3G.
It was an investment, yes.
Like,
and you had to you had to get records too, man. You know what I'm saying? And if you wanted to record, you had to get studio time as well. I was lucky to have to live in a studio, damn near. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people ain't have but I was fortunate to have. You know, I just got lucky. I was blessed, man.
Right. But
I ain't had no money.
But that's the thing that separated people. Like nowadays, it's like, let me try to be a DJ. Let me just get Serato and I'll download it. You couldn't do that back in the day because you had to have
these 2 things behind me.
Yeah, people got sound kits. You'll buy my sound kit. They got templates. You just set up template 5. It brings up the EQs for you. I mean, there's no element of crafting a sound, like your own signature sound. You know what I mean? When you put your own mix into something, your own EQ, your own dynamic range, your own composition and feel, your own snippet. That's your representation. That's your signature. But when you're using the same synth sounds, the same rhythm patterns, the same auto tune, I mean, it's no individuality, man. So it's hard. They will never be classics. You will never hear another classic.
Tell me this, because I got 2 random questions for you. Just random. These just random fan questions. On I'm Back, Soup and you shout out Kevy Kev and Ak B.
Those are my dudes.
Now, here's the wild part, because Kane shouts them out on Set It Off. And I was like, that was the second time. I'm like, who the fuck is Kevin? And Super Rudder shouting them out in Queens, and now Kane is shouting them out, bro. Who is Kevin Ogby, man?
All right, they were some dudes that we were like A&R for DNA at one point. Like we would listen to tapes people would send in and stuff. So I pulled the tape out. Me and Soup was playing it and said, "Yo, who's these dudes? We want to sign some people to the label, right? For DNA International Records, whatever, City Beat up, whatever." So we heard the tape. We said, "Yo, this shit is dope." I said, "Yo, who these dudes? Kevin Ogby." So yo, DNA signed these dudes. They signed them and put out the record, and they played it on, DNA Hank Love Show, the Diamond, they got the Awesome 2, they played it, and Kev was definitely nice on the turntables and all of that. So
DJ Kev.
Yeah, so they had their own, they were like I wouldn't say like a baby super lovely C Casanova Rub, but like that same model, like the DJ, right. One dude more ill at this, another's MC. So Ogby was the MC. They had their own style, and they was also like they like to do like James Brown was very influential at that time for hip hop. Like we brought James Brown out. You know what I'm saying? Like we like incorporated and infused a lot of his rhythms because I was cultured with like that soulful stuff. I love James Brown band and JB's and all, that's my shit. But they use also some of that thing. I think they used Funky Drummer for one of them that they had. That was their first single, and it came out. It was a hit. everybody loved it. So, but you know, they just didn't have the opportunities we had, like to be at certain spots, maybe to be seen. Maybe they could have blew up, you know, just as much as we did, but they were respected just because they were in the same community, in the same scene. So we actually put them on, and brought them under the wing, and brought them to the studio. They recorded at 1212 and all of that. Word is Born, and then he connected with Marley Marl, and the rest is history for him.
Right.
For Kevy Kev, what is wrong?
Crazy because, like I said, I'm like, these dudes shouting them out from Queens. Now Kane shout. Who was Kevy Kevin Ock-B? T-Spunk and Just Love, the Soup and Rudd dancers, man. Astoria dudes, because
Jesse's from he's a dancer. He's from Marlboro Projects in Brooklyn.
Okay.
And T-Spunk, that's my dude Travis. He's from Astoria Projects. I grew up. That's my dude. He's my little dude.
All right. So how did they connect? You know, because again, for people watching, there was a time in hip hop when you could dance, and dancing was cool as shit.
You had to dance.
Yeah, you had to dance. So where did you find? I mean, I know you said that's your man. One is from Brooklyn. You and Soup was just like, yo, we gotta get some dancers. We got like, what was it?
Well, Travis was always kind of down with us because we was doing the community stuff with the DJ and all that stuff. So he used to try to DJ, used to dance. He was ill at dancing, doing gymnastics, flipping, and all that. So T-Spunk. T-Spunk was the first dancer. He was the only dancer we had first. Jesse came, Just Love came later on. He was also pivotal to our circuit, performing in New York City in the rooftop, Latin quarters, the list goes on.
Speak on that. Speak on the Latin quarters and the rooftop. I don't know if you've seen this book, but one of my favorite, No Half Stepping, Paradise put it out about the Latin quarters. Just what random rooftop Latin quarter moment? Just what's the first thing that comes to mind if I say Latin quarters?
Okay, Latin quarters was the hangout for hip hop artists. You know what I'm saying? And it was also a spot where the public can come in and chill. But it was like a showcase spot. But it would play the most hottest people out at the time. So if you was on the radio, Red Alert was there playing. That was his spot, and he would play stuff. And whoever was the hottest, they would play the music, but whoever was on the scene would hang out there. So upstairs, it was like a square or going around the whole spot in the walls, like you can look out the windows and see the dance floor down. It's like on the second level, and it was just like junky back there, like backstage at like a theater. You know what I'm saying? But like the whole area. So you walking through, you see Biz chilling with some bitch. You got fucking Big Daddy Kane over there. You see the chain, flickering. Public Enemy might be, Chuck D might be over there in the corner for a second. It might be one of the Decepticons from Brooklyn wilding out, beating somebody up in the corner over there. It was crazy. It was like it was the culture of hip hop, and it all consolidated in one spot, infused in one spot, and like to me this day, they always say "Do the James" was the illest song to ever play in there. But I ain't gonna front, Rebel Without a Pause is the illest song ever played for me. When that came on, it sounded like it was psycho. Like it made all the Brooklyn dudes go crazy. It was like, yeah. So like it turned on like a signal, like it was brainwashing.
They were saying Go Stetson 1, Stetson Sonic, and Top Billin'. They was like, if those two joints come on, Brooklyn's better get off the floor. You get a punch. Here's an ill pic of Soup and Light. You know what I'm saying? Up there, from Latin quarters. Tell me this: rooftop? I say rooftop. What's that do for you?
It's called a WAP. I mean that's B-Fats. I mean, it's like a whole. You got Brooklyn was one thing. Queens, that's my era. I mean, that's my area. Bronx. But just uptown, that Harlem, that Polo Grounds, that area is just like, it's a whole different feel of hip hop. You know what I'm saying? It's like everything. There was pockets of hip hop at that time. It was different feels, like different signatures of sound. So they had their own sound. Like they had it was more like a happy kind of like infusion. You know what I'm saying? And it was a lot of dances incorporated. So they loved to do the Jane because we were doing dances because they were incorporating more dance there. They were more doing that stuff. So it was just different. They would respect how we would perform. We was always have incorporated dance show with T-Spunk and with Jess. So the rooftop was crazy. It was low ceiling, so it just was a different feel. You know what I mean? It was like a big ballroom atmosphere. You know what I'm saying? But it was hip hop, bro. Anywhere that you can hear music playing loud with pretty bitches and a whole bunch of young people smoking weed, drinking, and all that stuff, and wasn't no violence, bro. It was a little bit of stuff here and there, but not like now. Like the whole crap, the show is over. Like the whole thing's over. You know what I mean? Like one shot is over, my G. You know what I mean? Like back then, they'll have a fight. They pull it to the side, throw the dude out. All right, turn the music back on, turn the lights off. Let's get it started. You know what I'm saying? And like it was more respect. And Rooftop was definitely vital for hip hop at that time because we needed Harlem in that area to keep the synergy going. And it's like everybody kept picking it up and go to the next borough. We was like all feeding off each other. Yo, it was crazy.
Tell me this, because one of the things I don't know if most people have thought about or have given you your props for is this. Shan comes out with The Bridge. You know what I mean? BDP comes out with South Bronx. Kill That Noise. The Bridge is over. You know what I mean? Queens was dead in the water. You know what I mean? After that, Bridge is over. You know what I mean? But y'all were the only new dudes to come out of Queens after The Bridge is over period.
Nobody thought we was from Queens. Originally they thought we was from the Bronx. And then somebody thought we was from Harlem because we used to be at DNA, because DNA was based in Harlem. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of them didn't even know we was from Queens. And we talking about a performer from Astoria. But you know what I'm saying? Why don't you know? We from Astoria. You know what I'm saying? But just going back to the beginning, I'm saying, remember, you even alluded to it in your article that was I gravitated to you, bro. But just by you acknowledging that, we ain't never had no group. We ain't never had no team. We was dolo. We ain't had no native tongues to rock with, nobody to feature on nobody with, nobody to ride with the wave. We was always dolo. So it wasn't hard for us to break out because we never needed nobody anyway, but we just never identified with nobody.
Right. And the only reason why I brought that up is because most people don't think about that period because the people who were from Queens were already on before the whole Bridge is over happened. You're talking Run, you know what I mean? You're talking LL, you know what I mean? And from that period of the Bridge is over to probably Nas, Queens was kind of quiet for 3 to 4 years. You know what I mean? Except for y'all. But I mean, I guess you make a great point that a lot of people didn't know y'all was from Queens. But I just want to salute y'all for that because there was nobody new popping up out of Queens after the Bridge is over, except for y'all. You know what I mean? And I don't know if hip hop historians have done the knowledge on that or even thought about that or anything like that. But Nas will tell you, Noriega will tell you. Nori was talking about how he be in jail, niggas were talking shit about Queens. You know what I mean? So to be those that came out of Queens post the Bridge is over, that says a lot, good brother. That says a lot about you.
And then have your face posted all up on Harlem and up in the Bronx, posters and all that. Right. It's like you be tagging your area too. Yeah, right. What? Yeah.
So again, just for the young folk and the old folk, because I'm sure there's some people my age and older who never put the dates together like that in a timeline, but it was only you guys. Tell me this, bro. What are you into now, man? I know you was talking about your son. Tell us more about the music you're working on now. What's going on with Rudd now?
Well, just like as a man and as a human, I'm just trying to develop and become a better person, become more knowledgeable. Everything in life you should apply wisdom, you know what I'm saying? Because everybody could be smart, but you have to have intel to become intelligent. So to become knowledgeable, you have to have more experience. So you need more intel. And to become wise, you must have to have vast knowledge. So keep in mind to keep experiencing, keep branching out, adding extensions to yourself. So that's what I'm about. I share that message. I try to live by an example. I lead it by an example. I try to share, history. I'm dealing with metaphysics. I'm dealing with science and mathematics because it's about, knowing yourself, knowing what your purpose is on this planet. And we have an agenda, man. Right now we're in a system of reality that you don't even realize that you just program each day to do something, a bidding for someone else. So you here to be, man. You here to resonate and to have your own signature and leave on this planet and make a difference. Because you might have a message, but the whole key is just to be. You know what I'm saying? Just be here. Should have your energy shared on this planet. So a lot of us is just emulating stuff and just setting the system. So I'm trying to get people out the system, be knowledgeable about citizenship, knowing that you're not a citizen until you own your own estate. You know what I'm saying? Right now, you properties of the state, and you
Hey,
might
man,
be.
they don't know
You know what I'm
about
saying?
that.
I mean, I could talk about, you thinking you own property, but property can't own property in legalese. So you should know legalese jargon, get a Black's Laws Dictionary, get the King James Bible, because that's what you're dealing with on a daily basis to fight the system. You're dealing with constitutional law in the United States, and you're dealing with maritime law and international law throughout the world. So you got to establish a trust to be able to protect yourself. You know what I'm saying? And in order to manipulate things, you got to be knowledgeable, man. So I'll be sharing that stuff, and I put it through music. And also, cursive writing. I'm so glad it's back in schools now, because how are you going to read manuscripts if you don't know cursive writing? So a lot of these documents, man, you got to understand what you're dealing with. The Secret Treaty of Verona, the Naturalization Act, the Nationalization Act. You got to understand, the all of these documents that bind you to certain things that you don't know why you can't come up as a people. You know what I'm saying? So I'm sharing that knowledge. And to
Find that person, don't know it.
You know what I'm saying? So you got to understand, to progress, you got to know where you come from. You got to know, you got to have a point of reference to start. You know what I'm saying? So it's time to start, We've been partying too much. It's time to get back to work. We've been stuck on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Let's get, yeah.
I feel you, B. So, let me know, where can they get at you? Like the Twitter, Instagram, SoundCloud. Give them all the information.
Well, anything you want to know when I'm doing that's relevant right now, put the @ in front of CASANOVARUD. That's everything. Twitter, Instagram. You can find me on Facebook with that. Searching on Google. I got like 20,000 links come up. Good luck. If you're looking for some old school stuff, you'll find it there. But with the @ you see a lot of current stuff that I'm doing. I got a YouTube channel. I'm playing video games on there. I got videos that I shot over the last 10 years of me just doing, some hip hop stuff. I got interviews on there as well. I got a SoundCloud with over 50 songs on it that and I got my son. Me and my son got a group called Sun and I, spelled SUN and EYE. So we got like 5 songs together. We coming out with an album. I'm coming out with an album at the end of the year. Casanova Rud, the album. So just be on the lookout. I don't know what to expect. I'm not really here to make a major impact. I just have to share my experience. Everything that we do is a time capsule. Sometimes somebody's going to open it. You know what I mean? You want to make a vast difference, but if you just can put a seed in somebody, a spark in one person, you might create a ripple in time that can change 1,000 into 1,000,000 people. So just be mindful of everything that you do. Just be.
No doubt, bro. No doubt. Well, look, bro, I'm thanking you. I know we almost at the 2-hour mark. I appreciate you taking time out your day. You know what I mean? Like, bro, when you retweeted my article, it was just like, oh shit, he read it. Like, yo, you know what I mean?
It was elaborate, extensive, bro. What eloquently it articulated, bro. I appreciate your acknowledgement, bro. What you did, just history. I mean, your study, your homework. Much respect to you, bro. I appreciate you immensely, man.
No doubt. I appreciate you taking time out your day to just chop it up with us, bro. You know what I mean? Rec, give them all your information, man. Where can they get everything with DJ Rec One?
Man, so the mixes is going to be up on Fleet DJ Radio soon. Still working on that, getting everything up and running. Twitter is at DJ Rec One. Instagram is at DJ Rec One as well, man.
All right, and y'all already know this with me at Kill889, IG, Twitter. We'll make beats for food. Please find this, okay? If y'all don't do nothing else with your life, find this, and not on no MP3, not on no get your man to send you the file and the zip file. Find, like Gadget was saying, find the CD, find the vinyl, find the tape. I'm telling y'all, you will not be disappointed with this album. This is a top 10 favorite, a top 10 greatest album for me. This album, I mean, dog, you got, on some real shit, bro. I got so much game. This album came out in 87. I'm in 7th grade. All my game was this album.
Yeah, and I already know you so like educated and like informed, especially in regards to samples and digging. We gotta have a whole nother episode to talk about chopping and finding samples and
he don't even
have a quiz. We got to have a quiz and you know what I'm saying? Let's have a contest. You know what I'm saying? I can name that tune in 5 samples. You know what I'm saying?
I was gonna say, bro, prayerfully, this will be the last time you chopping it up with Apartment 5B, man. It's an open chair. Prayerfully was easy. Like I said, it's easy. You know, you be anywhere. You only gotta come out your crib. It's easy lifting. It's always a chair for you, bro. It was a pleasure, an honor, everything. Yo, again, thank y'all, man. I will check y'all next week, y'all.
Yo, before y'all leave, yo, go on my Twitter right now. Just go down the scroll and check out my son, Tom Don. I got a little show presentation, what he doing, and you can hit some of my links on SoundCloud. I got a couple of songs I posted recently, so check it out. You might be entertained for a minute. If you have nothing to do, just check it out.
I already know what it is, y'all.
Casanova Rudd at Casanova Rudd Twitter. Check it out real quick. I appreciate y'all. Yo, much love, man.
No doubt, man. Good looking.
Peace.
Yo, Rudd, quick question, man. Yo, I wanna get you some beats, man. You